if you say to yourself, I am a failure and I can't move forward in my career, right? What that does is that makes you feel despair, you feel sad, you feel like you really can't do it. And so that belief led to your emotions, which now will lead to your behaviors. If you feel sad and depressed and all of these things, how motivated are you to really take action? You're not, right? And so that those actions then prove, oh, I am a failure. Why? Because it doesn't lead to the result that you want. Meaning, if you're saying I'm a failure and I can't move forward in my career, you start feeling a way about it. And so you don't take any kind of action or the action that you should take, then what is the result of that? That ends up not becoming the job that you want it to be, or you end up not applying to the job that you could have got, or whatever the case may be. So it backs up the belief, I'm a failure.
This is Get Unstuck Podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who prioritize their life first, business second. I'm Mutita Panmuk, your host, who dedicates my life to designing and building a business that supports lifestyle. We will learn together from entrepreneurs around the world how they overcome their life challenges, their business obstacles, and yet still get unstuck from the hamster wheel of burying themselves into their business. Because time is the number one commodity in the world that you cannot get back once it's gone. So let's shorten the learning curve and see how can we prioritize better. Let's get unstuck. One. Hi, Get Unstuck Nation. The longest period of our life, you know what we're spending on? We're spending on work. And work as in a job or a career that we developing on, or we think that we're going to work on and we're going to do as a retirement. And, we have to spend our time wisely, because everyone here is a Get Unstuck Nation. You already sign up for Get Unstuck Methods philosophy and you want to spend your time wisely. So today, our guest is a career coach who helps women create career plans that center their strengths, likes, wants, and needs to increase visibility and earn higher salary. Torriel Harris will share with us today from her nearly 10 years of experiences in career strategy, personal branding, and professional growth. This is so important because, as I said, that we spend the most time of our life doing this thing. Like, this is my job, this is my business that I'm building. So I already signed up for this career path, And what about you? What is it that you sign up for and you're gonna live with that? So without further ado, please welcome Torriel to Get Unstuck podcast today. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm very well. I know, right? Like, this topic is something that we cannot speak about this enough.
Absolutely.
So without any longer time, how did you get started to this entrepreneurial journey? Why did you start it as a career coach?
Yeah. So when I first started my career in general, I had moved from California to New York, and I'd had a job for a year, but it wasn't working out. I was in my younger 20s and it was all a mess. And so I was unemployed for a year after that. And I was in this back to work program. And the woman who worked there, she saw that I would help people with their resumes and, just talking to people and stuff like that. Cause I'm looking for a job just like they are. So I was like, why not? And she was like, hey, do you want to work at our sister company? And I was like, heck yeah. So I started working there, and honestly speaking, that's been my path in career development. I haven't left since. And I was in 2021. I was working at this other back to work place, and I just remember the place was a hot mess, like complete mess. And who is now my best friend was at the time my coworker, and she was probably one of the most diligent people on the team, but she had no business being in career development. She wanted to be in care coordination, which takes care of like mental health and, benefits, stuff like that. Like that fits her. And our VP at the time was just like, hey, you know what? Like we're not going to hire you for this, but instead I'm going to put you on Toriel's roster. And so she made my coworker my client. And that is what has set off my career coaching business, because it was after that I did like a pristine freaking resume for her, and I coached her, and she ended up getting a great job. Like, she's in a different job now. Like, she's become my best friend because of it, but that is literally the catalyst that started my business.
Ah, so when you see a resume, because you started from there, right? What do you look
Hmm.
at? What do you look at in a person resume?
So I look for fluff. You can say something like orchestrated and streamlined the data. What are you saying? Like, what are you actually saying? If you're not saying a whole lot, you're not talking about results, you're not talking about your impact, then you're really not saying anything. You're just putting words on a paper to look pretty. So I'm looking for that fluff factor, and I'm looking to see, are you using what I deem as the 5 pillars of impact? So that could be numbers, right? Numbers of things, numbers of people, numbers of project, whatever, just numbers. I'm looking for percentages. Did something increase or decrease because of you? I'm looking for money, right? That could be budget, like you handled a budget. That could be you increased profit margins. That could be you cut cost savings, right? Whatever has to do with dollar amounts that you were the cause of, I want to see that. I also want to see frequency, right? If you, let's say you're running a meeting bi-weekly or, bi-monthly, you're doing some kind of event biannually, whatever the case may be, I want to see those type of things. And I want to also see time frame. And that could be, how long did it take you to do something? So let's say you were given 6 months to do a project and you finish it in six. Perfect. You could put that. But let's say you also finish something in 6 months and you finished it in three, even better, right? So those are the 5 things that I look for when I am looking at resumes. I don't do resumes anymore. I freaking hate them. I'm just very good at them. But yeah, so that's what I look for when I do like resume reviews.
Ah, so coming back to the origin, I know that we talk about this offline, but like when someone in the situation that, I need to find my North Star, like I don't think my current situation of career path is speaking for me anymore. What we have
Hmm.
to start? We need to find our strength. Like what usually your clients come to you.
Well, what do you like? That's the thing, right? I think a lot of times when we're working, we're just like, I'm good at this, so I'm going to do it. But oftentimes we hate those things or we don't care for them, right? So I really get to the root of what is it that you like? What is it that you're good at? What do people come to you for? Like for example, when I was still full time, I had to really think, what do I want to do? Because for a little bit, I pivoted to HR, and I was like, I hate it here. This is not. It's not for me, right? Why? Because I love to facilitate career development stuff. And so not only do I love it, but I'm good at it. That is what we call the zone of genius, right? That intersection between what you like and what you're good at. And then there's a couple of different like zones, right? You have your zone of incompetence, zone of competence, zone of, I forget the other one, and then zone of genius, right? So basically the point here is that you have to see whether the things that you're doing in your daily are things that you even like to do, or do you like them but you're not really good at it? Because you could also like something and be terrible, right? So you have to really figure out where you land on that, and then after that we kind of say, okay, if it's in your wheelhouse, if it's something you've done, if it's something you're known for, let's go on that path. And if that's a path that you're already on, perfect, right? Some people don't realize, like, oh yeah, I want a different job, I want to pivot, but they don't realize that they're exactly where they need to be, maybe just at another company. So we really narrow down what your strengths, what your likes, what you're needing from a job. And then kind of from there we can go forward and build a path.
So in that case, what is your like most common situation that the clients come to you? Like, do they need a career change or they want a better career development but the same career path? What is it that you experience the most?
It's usually kind of same thing. They're just not sure what they want to do next. Like maybe they've been stuck in the same level for a while. I usually get like people who have been in their career 4, 5, 6 years and aren't seeing a way to go past that. And so we really evaluate, okay, do you want to continue on this path and maybe just up level yourself to another role? Or do you want to move around? So instead of moving vertically, you're moving laterally. Or do you need a whole change completely? Right. So some people, they think it's one way and then it's actually another. So like the example I just gave, they think they want to leave, but actually they just need a new job. Or sometimes it's just, you've outgrown something and they're scared to admit it. Sometimes it's scary to admit that, right? Like if you've grown out of a person, a place, a thing, it's scary. So I'm that person that keeps it real with them to be like, listen, this is what you told me. These are the evidences you have. Now you have one or two ways. You can stay in what you're doing, or we can pivot to X, Y, and Z.
You mentioned that. What is it that it would be the spot when they come to you? Like this is the time that I start to feel uncomfortable already, or I cannot keep doing this anymore. What is it that it would cause this feeling?
Yeah, so it's that feeling of not being able to move, right? I think that a lot of women specifically, because all of my clients are women, at least these days. And what it is that they usually feel like they have nowhere to go, like they can't grow any further. They're just kind of stuck in this one level. And when you're feeling that feeling of stuckness, you start feeling very frustrated, right? Frustrated with yourself, like why can't I move forward? Frustrated with your job, like why is it like this? Why am I invisible to you, right? Why can't you notice me more and notice like where my strengths are? But oftentimes my clients don't even know what their strengths fully are, or they don't know how to communicate those strengths. And so working with me is usually a three-phase system. We work on clarity, which is really getting to the root of what you like, your strengths, all that kind of stuff. And then we move into communication, because now that you know these things, you have to now communicate that to the right people. And if that's within your organization, do you need to be speaking to other leaders? Do you need to be speaking to, different departments, right? Who is it that you need to target in order for them to know I am ready for this change? Do you need to take on stretch assignments, which means you're taking on assignments that would have never been given to you unless you asked for them, right? So we go through that and kind of figure that piece out. And then after that, we move into commitment, which is basically the sustainability part, where you are able to maintain what you're doing and maintain the route and the speed in which you're going. I think that a lot of people get like so overwhelmed about their career growth, and then they start feeling like the imposter syndrome. They start seeing the success and it scares them. And so with the commitment piece, which is sustainability, we're able to figure out good habits to build in order to keep that momentum going.
Coming
Did
back
that
to
answer your question?
yeah. I'm thinking
Okay.
along. I'm thinking along. Coming back to the second part, which is what is this? The first part is clarity. What
Communication.
is communication?
Mm-hmm.
What is the pitfall that you experience that people have to change? It seems like they need to change their character in order to improve themselves, like skill wise, personal wise, and also professionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that usually you see required to develop within themselves?
Well, see, I don't actually agree with that. I don't think you need to change
Oh,
you. I don't think you need to change you. I think what you need to change is advocating for yourself.
oh,
So there are a lot of people who are like introverted, or, just in general, they don't have the confidence. So we figure out, why is it you don't have that confidence? Because a lot of times, especially women of color, we're told that we shouldn't brag, right? We shouldn't like be very loud and really talk about the things that we've accomplished. Whereas you have a mediocre white man, for example, who has maybe 30-50% of what's needed, and they get the job. But the question isn't, do they have the skills or not? The question is how they advocate for themselves. And so I teach women within the commitment, or the communication phase, how do you advocate for yourself? How do you be your own best cheerleader? Right? Like, I don't believe as a coach that I empower anyone. I don't have that power. You empower yourself. So you have to learn, what is it that I'm good at, and how can I advocate for myself? So that's what I'm teaching. I don't think it's a fact of you have to change you. I think it's you have to change your mindset, right? And change your thought process on like what it is you need to be talking about and how you talk about yourself. Because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I was able to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and so my strong points are blah 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 blah, which is very different from, yeah, like I'm just the best at blah 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 blah, and that's bragging, right? We don't want to do that. That's not what we're looking for. But we are looking for showing this is what I've accomplished. This is what I've done in my career. Because a fact is a fact is a fact, right? Whatever you've accomplished, it's a fact. That's not a brag, it's a fact. So that's kind of what I teach.
Do you have any case study that you have turned person that is not so confident and then able to advocate for themselves? That's
Yeah,
gonna be
I have tons of them. I don't have
inspiring.
any, like, that's the thing. I need to go to my clients to get like official tissue case studies.
Oh, I'm so
but
sorry.
there's a couple of clients that I've worked with in the past. I remember my client Luce. She's very, very introverted. She didn't know how to speak up for herself at all. She was an admin assistant. Like, she didn't know how to move up. And I worked with her over, I think we worked together maybe 2 or 3 months. And we did just a bunch of interviewing prep and, worked on her resume and things like that to really narrow those things down on where her strengths actually lie so that she can stick to the facts. Right. I think the thing with a lot of introverted people is that if they don't have like a script to go off of, they're kind of like, I don't know what to talk about. And so instead of like me writing an actual script for you, I make it so that you understand what you've accomplished and we like work that out together. And then that way you can use, that bullet on your resume or whatever to talk about your experience from there. I have another client who, she was really good at what she does, but she didn't know how to really talk about it. Like, she would dance around the point. And so again, I am a fluff free person. Like, even in my personal life, I don't like fluff. I don't like small talk. That's such a waste of time to me. And so I was like, listen, that's nice, but let's get to the root of what you're actually talking about. And then after we kind of changed the narrative of like what she was saying, she got a job within 2 weeks. So I mean, it really is all about how it is that you describe yourself and show the world that you are that go-to girl, that you're the one that people need to come to, that you're that subject matter expert. I think that so many people, especially in this job market is a mess right now. And so in this job market, because there's so many job seekers out there and there's such good competition, quite honestly, there's like a lot of good people that you're going up against, but you have to stand out in that sea of sameness, meaning you have to be able to speak to your accomplishments and well to show that you are that person that they need to go to. You're the one that they need to hire. So that's I work with my clients in that way to really improve how they speak about themselves.
What about the sustainable career plan, like the sustainable path? We
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that develop the habits around that. So
Yeah.
I think storytelling is important though. You just mentioned that, like, change the way that you advocate yourself. I learned the hard way. Like when you mentioned that, I'm a kind of introvert person as well. I keep everything to myself. Like, to start this
Mm-hmm.
podcast, my audience know this is one of the things that I gain back my confidence, by the way, to start this
Mm-hmm.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand that anyone want to put themselves out there. Like, I totally get that. So to start doing that is already hard, but keep doing
Right.
that though is even harder. Like,
Yeah.
keep being the champion in your own life, isn't it? So how
Yeah.
did you how did you I mean, do you have any tips to keep doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So first of all, when it comes to career planning and stuff like that, I think that a lot of times when you're working already, when you have a family, when you have so many other responsibilities, you put looking for a new job or even trying to move up in your current job, you put it on the back burner. And so what I first do is we do an evaluation of your time, a time audit, because, so often we're like, oh, at the end of the day, I don't have time. But did you really not have time, or did you just not make the time? Right.
Mm.
So we do a time audit. We make sure, what are you doing throughout your day so that it shows I actually have 2 hours that I could have dedicated, but instead I was on Instagram. Right. And it's actually a really sobering thought, a sobering understanding. Like for 2024, I actually made myself get off Instagram, get off all social media. So now it's to the point where I check my Instagram maybe 15 minutes every couple of weeks. Like, I'm never on it. But I just realized how much of a time suck it was. And so I started implementing that within my clients, and they're realizing too how much time they're wasting, not just on social media, but just in general. Right. So we talk about that. We talk about different productivity things that they could be doing, right? So when you set a goal, so often you're like, okay, I'm going to do this in 30 days, right? But do you really have a full 30 days to do it? Let's just say, right? There's 4 weeks in a month, 4 weeks and a couple days. And every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you are doing something with your kids, you're doing something with your family, going out of town, whatever. That's 3 times 4. So that's 12 days minus 30 that you actually don't have. So what is that? 22? That, or something like that. I'm great with words, terrible with math. So if the numbers is off, forgive me, but something like that, right? You now have 20 something days rather than the 30 days that you thought you had. And that's 18. Ha ha, ha, I got it. 18 days. So 30 versus 18, very different. And then now you have the 18 days. You're putting whatever it is into practice those 18 days. And by that 30th day, you're like, I didn't reach my goal. What happened? So I really sit down with them to be like, okay, how much time do you actually have? Right. Of course, we have the physical, I have X amount of hours a day, but also X amount of days per week, per month, per quarter, so that we can really take a analysis of what it is you have to do. What's your actual responsibilities? What do you want to do? What can you defer? Right. Defer meaning give to someone else, or, put on another, or put to another day or another time period. What can you delegate? Meaning, what can you assign to someone else to do? Let's say you're like, oh, I want a job search, but I have to do the dishes. Do you live with anyone? Can they do them? Right? So you're delegating that. And then there's also delete, meaning you don't need to do it at all. Like, let's say you're like, oh, in order for me to move into this project management role, I need to get this whatever certification. But is it really needed, or are you just using that as an excuse to hold yourself back, right? So we really look into the activities that you're doing to see what needs to go, what needs to stay, and how you can implement it more. And to be honest, right, they say a habit takes like 66 days to build. So I usually am with my clients for 90 days, which is a full quarter. And in that quarter, we do an actual quarterly plan. And that way you can begin to build those habits. So even after you're done with me, which, I mean, my clients are never fully done with me, right? They come back every now and again. But yeah, and they're able to really put those habits into play.
Even if they get a job already, what they keep
Mhm.
working with you further.
Depends. It depends, because some of them come to me for that confidence boost. And just because you got a job doesn't mean you fully believe in yourself just yet.
Ah,
Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. But if they've gotten a job, then I mean, I kind of give them a little bit of maintenance, right? But typically we kind of phase them out because they've accomplished what they set out to do.
because it's also an issue, right? Once you get a job, doesn't mean you believe that you got the job.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you nailed it though. Like there's some people that having excuses not to move to the next level of the job because of the credential and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Success
have
is scary. Success is scary. And the thing is, right, we don't like to say it, but it's true. What if I do make it to this level? What if I do get this income? Right. And
mm,
then you get scared, like, I don't think I can handle it. And then you shrink back. So
mm.
oftentimes I'm having to coach my clients to be like, no, no, you can do it. Let's push you further, because what are you stopping yourself for? You're getting in your own way. And it's such a subconscious thing. You don't always realize that's what's happening, because who wants to say success is scary? Who wants to say I don't want to be successful? Right. But a lot of times your actions prove what your thoughts actually are.
Yeah, because you cannot imagine yourself when you get there. Like what is it?
Exactly.
Fear of the unknown, basically.
Exactly. Exactly.
Ah, that's so true. Is that imposter syndrome somehow?
Yeah. Yeah. It's imposter syndrome. It's also limiting beliefs. Right.
Mm.
So it goes belief, and then it goes emotions, and then it goes habits, actions, and then it goes back to belief. So let me give you an example.
Mm.
I have a free community which I host, where I do like 3 or 4 different like subjects, not subjects, but like
Mm.
workshops like a month. And in one of the last workshops for last year, I forget what the main topic was, but someone submitted a question and they said, what if I feel like I'm a failure at everything? And so I use that to give this example. If you say to yourself, I am a failure and I can't move forward in my career, right? What that does is that makes you feel despair, you feel sad, you feel like you really can't do it. And so that belief led to your emotions, which now will lead to your behaviors. If you feel sad and depressed and all of these things, how motivated are you to really take action? You're not, right? And so that those actions then prove, oh, I am a failure. Why? Because it doesn't lead to the result that you want. Meaning, if you're saying, I'm a failure and I can't move forward in my career, you start feeling a way about it. And so you don't take any kind of action or the action that you should take, then what is the result of that? That ends up not becoming the job that you want it to be, or you end up not applying to the job that you could have gotten, or whatever the case may be. So it backs up the belief, I'm a failure. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm thinking
Yeah.
along really clearly. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's really makes sense. So
Yeah. And
how
so we
can we
have to
stop that trap?
rewire that. I'm sorry.
How can we stop that trap? At least like precaution it.
Yeah, yeah, we have to rewire our thoughts, right? We have to first identify it. If you don't identify that thought that's there, then it's always going to be in the back of your mind without you even realizing it, right? So you have to first say, what am I feeling about this? What am I feeling about my career right now? What am I feeling about my successes, my failures, my this, my that? And once you can pinpoint those actual beliefs, and a good way to do this, I forget what the law is called, but it's like the law of seven, right? Where you ask yourself why 7 times and you really get down to the root of that. So I feel like a failure. Why? Because I haven't gotten a new job. Why? Because I didn't apply for anything. Why? Because I feel like I can't do it. Why? Right? So you keep getting down to that root of why, and once you get down to that root, that is the limiting belief. And once you identify that limiting belief, then what you can do is you can reverse it by saying the opposite, right? So if you're saying, I'm a failure because I can't get a new job because I don't believe in myself, you have to give yourself evidence to believe in yourself. So that's where it comes in where, okay, I have been able to successfully lead 5 meetings. I have been able to successfully gain a new client. I have been able to whatever, right? Giving yourself those evidences, those hardcore evidences, so that you can then rewire your brain to realize, no, that is a lie that I've been telling myself. The truth of it is, I am more than capable because, and then you have those evidences to back it up. And that's how you rewire it. Yeah.
Wow, this is so powerful.
It is. And this is why I love doing what I'm doing. I actually just created maybe like a week ago, I created an affirmation deck. And so I am not one of those like woo-woo people. I don't really believe in like calling on the universe and blah blah blah. Oh my God. But I don't, I don't care about Mercury being in retrograde or any, that is not me. I am fluff free. Okay. But in these affirmation cards, one of them, or not one of them, but like the way that I did it was I created an affirmation and then a micro action behind it. So I can actually read you one of them that I created, just so that
Oh,
you can
thank
have an
you.
idea of like what I'm saying. So one of them is, my success is undeniable because I have the evidence to prove it. And then
Hmm.
the micro action is you create an email folder titled Career Evidence, and then you search your inbox for any kind of thank yous, great jobs, well done's, anything like that. And then you copy those emails into that folder so that you can have that folder to show yourself, my success is in fact undeniable and I have evidence to prove it.
Oh,
So
like
it's like
keep
that.
the hard evidence in front of your face so that
Yes.
it keep it there. Like keep seeing it.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Because if you don't believe it, no one else will. So you're applying to these jobs that you don't even believe you're going to get. And then when they see your resume, when they hear your interviews, they're going to feel that you don't believe it. So they're not going to believe in you. So what's the point? Right? You have to pump yourself full of that confidence. Again, not in a braggy way, but in a way that shows, I am that girl. I am her. She is me. Right. And with that evidence to back it up, it's not just you saying that. It's not just pretty words or lip service to yourself. It's you showing and proving to yourself that you can do what it is that you do. That's why my deck is called Prove It.
Oh, that's amazing.
Hmm.
In case anyone want to work with you or follow you, where can they find you then?
Yeah. So they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm taking a break from posting, but I'm still there. So my LinkedIn is my name, Torriel Harris. You cannot miss me. I have different color hair. I think it's blue on my on my profile. And then you can also go to my website, www.torrielharris.net. TORRIELHARRIS.net. And there you can find any of my resources. I have some free resources on there. I'm creating new resources as we speak. One of my freebies on there is called I Need, I Bring. And so that's kind of the part that I was talking about in the beginning, where you get that clarity of knowing what it is that you need from a job, but also having that evidence to back it up, which is I Bring. So it's a really helpful worksheet. And I recommend it to any and everyone, which is why I made it free on the site. I have the cards up there. I have an audio series of confidence up there. Like, there's quite a bit of things. And then I also have my group coaching program. On the website right now, it's 2 different programs, but I'm actually streamlining it into one 12-week program. And that's where we're going to work on the 3 phases that I spoke about, which is clarity, communication, and commitment. So if anyone is interested in working with me, let's do it. I am open. I am ready. I am here to be that cheerleader on your side. But I will always, always keep it real with you.
Amazing. Because this is something that I think you are like really holistic, like all over. Because like it
Mm-hmm.
is different. Like it's, I think it's completeness though. Because
Yeah.
I have seen career coach, they are usually go through what do you want and then like find a job and then it's done. But you not only that, you also boost the confidence. And I think the way that you explain about the confident part is very eye-opening for me. So thank you so much for
Mm.
sharing this amazing story to us in
Yeah,
this
thank
episode
you.
at least. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, a lot of career coaches are boring.
No need
No
to say
shade to anybody, no shade, but a lot of them are boring. Because here's the thing, career planning is boring. It is, right? So unless you yourself spice it up, unless you add different elements to it, it's just gonna be boring. And the one thing that I know for a fact about me, I'm never boring. So you will always have a good time with me.
well, as I say, because job is something that you're gonna stay at the longest time of your life. So in case anyone
Mhm.
interested, everything will be linked down below around here as well as in the show notes. So thank you so much, Torriel, to joining our Get and Stuff podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
I hope this episode inspires you wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey so that you can have your business that supports your lifestyle. Get a show note at getunstuckmethod.com/podcast. Review what we have learned together today and start implementing right now. See it by yourself. The results of your consistent action are worth it. You deserve the freedom to enjoy your life. Until the next episode, let's get unstuck.